We're conquering Flight of Passage today.
I bought a fancy ride.
I'm waiting standby.
And I'm coming in early as a resort guest. I'm here so early the Joffrey's isn't even open. It is 7 a.m. on the nose and I'm headed in for early theme park entry. This is that perk given to resort guests of Disney resorts and certain good neighbor hotels that allows you into the parks 30 minutes early. It's available at every park every morning. Thank you.
Next in line.
All right, so we've made it into the park. If you are a not early park arrival guest, they're sending you to the right. They're sending all of the early theme park entry guests to the left. Make sure to have your Magic Band out, and I also recommend having your hotel reservation pulled up on your phone. That way you can tap in with these cast members that are going to check your credentials, but sometimes it doesn't pull up quickly or something, and so you want to have that up on your phone ready to go too, just in case. Made it in nice and quick. I love the reminder that Safari doesn't open till a little bit later, because you know my perfect day does involve coming in early as a theme park resort guest and riding Flight of Passage like we're going to do now, and then going to safaris after, because you got to get that early morning safari. It's the best one. She is beauty, she is grace. We love the Tree of Life. There's no time to stop and oogle her, so we have got to go to Pandora, even though right now would be a great time to get some pictures. There's barely anyone in the park. Lighting's great. Now, while Safaris doesn't open as part of early theme park entry, both Dinosaur and Expedition Everest do. So I don't really recommend using Genie Plus in this park. You don't really need it if you get here early and have a plan to knock things out. But I have recommended and in the past purchased the fancy ride for Flight of Passage. That way I didn't have to worry about coming here first with everybody else. Ooh, new wall right there. That's nice. That way I didn't have to worry about rope dropping it, especially as a non-resort guest. I think Quincy's gonna wait like a decent amount of time. But what my recommendation would be, I think, is to purchase the fancy ride for Flight of Passage and then not regular Genie Plus, and then come in, especially as a resort guest, knock out Everest, knock out Dinosaur, be ready to roll for the first or an early safari, and then you've just paid for the one fancy ride, which is less than the cost of Genie Plus. Okay, here's where you want to pay attention.
All the way to the right hand side for Dinosaur, Flight of Passage.
Flight of Passage to the right.
If you're not all the way to the right hand
Navi River Journey to the left. 7:13 a.m. right now, and it still says 30-minute wait here in the app. We'll see about that. I bet it's longer, but we're gonna start the clock.
The impeccable vibes of a Disney World theme park at 7 a.m. I have the hiccups. Things are messy. It's about 7:15 right now. I am rope dropping as a regular guest, not a resort guest. So that means I can actually head fully into the park at 7:30, which is opening time today. But you can actually scan in and head a little bit into the park a little bit earlier than that. So we're gonna go ahead and scan in, get all set up. That's why I definitely recommend arriving early, so that you can go ahead and be set to head towards the rides. Molly is probably already here and headed that way. I, however, am not here for early entry, so I'm going this way. Note to the editor, I am so sorry that I am hiccuping. It started literally right before I turned my camera on, and I can never get hiccups to stop, so this is gonna be all day.
Because you're watching this creature that we created die a terrible death in this most poetic
Molly is crying
full
about
circle
a
moment with the
dinosaur in
original
RTT
film.
right now.
And you're
It's
just
very
like,
sweet,
God,
but
we're
it's
the worst. You're the worst.
She's legitimately
And I
crying about a
sobbed
CGI
in the theater.
dinosaur.
Like if I'm... Here's my real question. How far down is this going? Because back in my day, oh wow, we might be around 30 minutes because it's just doing a little loop-de-loop around this cast member who's acting like the cone you had to run around for your shuttle run for your national fitness test in PE class. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Like I said, Flight of Passage is a fancy ride, which is not official terminology, but it's what I call the paid individual lightning lanes. There's one at each park currently, and it's Flight of Passage here. So if you want to skip the line at Flight of Passage, it's an additional cost. You do not have to purchase Genie Plus in order to purchase a fancy ride. Resort guests can buy it at 7. Non-resort guests can buy it when the park opens, which at this park is 7:30, and it's usually around $11. In my experience, Flight of Passage on a regular day is nowhere near as difficult to acquire or as urgent to acquire right at 7 a.m. as Rise of Resistance, as Cosmic Rewind is now. On perfect day, I was not a resort guest. I was able to easily get one. At 7:30, I refreshed a few times and even pulled one earlier. I constantly see Flight of Passage, even once it's sold out, coming back available. So, you know, have it in your mind if you want to book it, but you don't need to be quite so urgent as you do with Rise as Cosmic Rewind to get Flight of Passage.
Talk about a Flight of Passage. Do you like my footwear?
The floating mountains are one of those things that I'm dazzled by every time I come to this park. Every time I come to this land, I'm like, how did they do that? I do know how they did it because I watched the Imagineering story, but that's not the point, and I'm not going to tell you because it's magic. That's the answer. Joe Rohde's a real wizard. I knew it all along, but they do finally reveal it in the Imagineering story. There's the test seat right outside. This one does have that odd bike seat. It's rather constricting, so if you're concerned about it being comfortable, I definitely recommend sitting in the test seat before you get in the line, or have someone in your party, you know, hold your spot and you go test it out with the cast members, just so you don't wait in this whole line only to realize it's not going to be a comfortable fit. Made it into the official part of the queue at this point, and now the posted wait time is 55 minutes. So the park's officially about to open. Quincy should be getting in line soonish. My guess is that my posted wait time will be about half of Quincy's. My guess is my wait will also be about half of Quincy's. But as we are walking into the queue, we're already almost at 15 minutes, which is half of my posted wait. I don't think I'm going to get through this entire queue in 15 minutes. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Every time I'm in this land, I am like, wow, this land is so incredibly beautiful. It's so well imagineered. The theming is amazing. And my goodness, do I wish I cared about this film. Can you imagine being immersed in a land based on a good movie? Oh my gosh, it would be amazing.
Going to Animal Kingdom does make me upset that I have to get up at 7 a.m., but boy, do I love looking at the Tree of Life in the morning. I'm sure that Molly saw a similar sight rope dropping with resort guests this morning. Pretty much most people are going to head over towards Pandora, over towards Flight of Passage. That's what we're seeing here too. Fingers crossed that we get to wait less than an hour. That'll really pay off, I think. Flight of Passage does get a long line. Because Flight of Passage does get a long line all day. Flight of Passage is showing a 70-minute wait. Oh my gosh. Whew. Flight of Passage is showing a 70-minute wait, which might be accurate, it might not. Disney does tend to do a little bit of predictive wait times first thing in the morning, since these lines, as you can see, are filling out. So they'll go ahead and ramp the wait times up a little bit higher than they actually are. So we're back here on the slats. So though the ride does have a posted 70-minute wait right now, the cast member did say that from here it's probably going to be about an hour. We will certainly see. I've definitely waited 50 minutes from here, 55 minutes, so we might make it under an hour. I'm curious. But you can see why they... Oh my gosh.
It's now been 45 minutes and I'm in the lab. So I think it depends how much they're filling this next room, but my guess is I've got about 5 or so more minutes before they sort me. So definitely longer than that 30 when I first got in line. Oh, they're not even using the whole lab. So yeah, I think about 5 more minutes. Hey Hank, good morning, wake up sleepyhead. Definitely longer than that 30 when I first got in that extended queue, but it's still better than it's already posted to 120. The plot of Avatar Flight of Passage and kind of this land in general is that we are human tourists visiting the planet of Pandora, visiting the Valley of Moara because the Na'vi have opened it up to trading for some reason. This takes place after the events of Pandora the movie, so the bad guys are gone. Ace Alpha Centauri Expeditions is the new good guy human organization that is shepherding this adventure. So we are headed to link up to an avatar, which is presumably just flopping around on the back of a banshee somewhere, since there's no one linked up to him yet. And then we're gonna fly on the back of a banshee through the Valley of Moara. Headed into the pre-show, which is where the clock officially stops in a Disney attraction. So as soon as I get on my number, boop, there I am.
Prepare systems
56 minutes. Let's stop the
All
clock.
systems engaged.
I just realized that this lamppost kind of looks like it has skin and teeth. I'm not a fan of that. It's here to provide you the hidden details you didn't want to know in Disney World. The good news is Flight of Passage is not the worst queue in the world. It's got a lot of variety. It's really pretty in some areas. All right, now as we officially head into the full queue, we've got a 120-minute wait already. 2-hour wait already up and running here at Flight of Passage. Keep in mind too that once the park is open, that wait does account for Lightning Lane return time. So people who have purchased the Lightning Lane for Flight of Passage are now going to be factored into that wait time. So even if the line looks a little shorter, it'll be a longer wait. So I would be willing to bet that when we get off, the line will look shorter than when I got on, but have an actually longer wait. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Did my hiccups stop?
Gotta say, not a bad morning hanging out with my best friend Daisy, chilling out, and now heading to Animal Kingdom to ride one of the most popular rides in Walt Disney World without a wait. So far, I really I like the way this is working out.
Has a spine. I'm not sure I'm a fan of the realization I've had this morning that the fan posts and light posts of the Flight of Passage queue seem to be alive. All right, not yet 40 minutes, and I'm in the first room of the internal queue, which is exciting because my skin is fragile and the sun is dangerous.
Do I like this ride as much as Everest? No. Do I like it as much as Dinosaur? No. I much prefer a moving vehicle with practical sets and real animatronics. But to quote Kate Dawson from another James Cameron blockbuster film, I'm flying. It really does feel like you're flying, and it's for sure the best simulator in Walt Disney World. It is just Soarin' with a cool seat, but it's a very cool attraction. Because, hey, I like Soarin' too. Here's why I think people like Flight of Passage so much. Like, in addition to the fact that it's very beautiful, it's very relaxing, the smells are nice, and it's a cool attraction. But I think one of the reasons people like it and don't disparage it as much as other thrill rides is because it's long. The actual ride itself is 4.5 minutes, which is very long for a Disney attraction. So you actually feel like when you wait in a long line that you get your, like, money's worth a little bit more than if you wait in a long line for like Rock and Roller Coaster, which is 90 seconds long. So I do think that's part of why people like it so much. But for now, what I like so much is coffee.
All right, I am headed up the ramp. We've done it. It's 8:46. I've been in line for an hour and 9 minutes, so we are at 70 minutes now, which interestingly enough is what was posted. Disney does measure queue wait times to the pre-show, and we are in line to get entered into one of the pre-show rooms. So as soon as we do, we will stop our timer and see just how long it was.
Okay, Dr. Stevens, they're ready.
Can everyone see me?
Now to my secret coffee spot. I already texted Quincy. You know where to meet me. So let's see if she does. So she might be wandering around a little bit after this, but I brought her a coffee. I have another one in my other hand. So we'll see if she knows where to go.
as you can see, even though I waited 70 minutes, the posted wait is now 95. You can see that there's nobody all the way out here where my wait started. There's not many people winding through the trails. And that's just because the lightning lane, it does make that wait look physically shorter even when it can be physically longer. So just keep that in mind. Don't be fooled. Now I have to find Molly. Luckily, I know Molly. I know where she is. Sandwiched between a trash can and a waterfall.
How was your line?
That's fine.
How many minutes did you wait?
72.
72?
And it was posted 70. So
That's pretty good. Mine was posted 30 and then I waited 56. So
man.
that's not the same number.
yeah. Well, it's actually, I kind of like that it wasn't that crazy of a difference from resort guests to...
Yeah, I think if I had gotten here earlier, like I was walking into the park right at 7, but I think if I had gotten here at 6:30, I probably could have really maximized on an actually 30-minute or
Yeah.
less wait, but 6:30 is so early. It is so early.
It's not really acceptable.
It's like before I could even book a lightning lane early.
I was booking my lift this morning and I was like...
Yeah. That's how I judge times, before lightning lane and after lightning lane. But now, you know, Breedlove's been able to luxuriate and waiting for his lightning lane time, so we'll...
He might not have even had to be out of bed. It's 6 something.
Wow. What's that like? So we'll wait for him for our final science results.
All right, about to walk into Animal Kingdom and meet Quincy and Molly. Ride Flight of Passage, feeling good. I always have to stop and see if Divine is here. You know, sometimes it's hard to see her. So you've got to stop and really look. I don't see Divine today. Oh my gosh, her beak is wide open and she's huffing and puffing.
She's totally laying an egg right now. She's laying an egg.
All right, we're entering Pandora. This morning when I booked my Fancy Rides reservation, I picked it for a little later in the afternoon. I picked a 1:25 reservation because with those Fancy Rides or IAS rides, you have the luxury of picking your time like you don't with the Genie Plus Lightning Lane reservation. So, as you saw, I luxuriated this morning. I hung out with Daisy. I took my time getting ready. I left the house, came here, and now I'm going to ride Flight of Passage, hopefully with very little line. I'll set my timer and we will see exactly how long it takes me to get through that IAS or Fancy Rides reservation line, otherwise known as the Lightning Lane. Here we go. So for $11, we only waited 11 minutes for Flight of Passage, which is a huge deal because you know how long those lines get. $11 well spent. I wonder what Molly and Quincy are doing. Well, I've heard from Molly and Quincy and I should have known. They are at Nomad Lounge. I'm meeting them here now.
That was some good science.
I feel scienced.
Yes.
Truly.
What are the big takeaways from today?
$11 well spent.
Good, good. My big takeaway is that it's better to ride it very early or a couple of hours after rope drop because it spikes pretty quickly after rope drop. We saw it, you get it.
Yeah, and mine is that if you're coming in for early park entry at any park, you kind of have to choose between several smaller attractions and one big attraction. In my opinion, it's worth it to spend in this park the $11 on Flight of Passage and using that 30 minutes to knock out Everest, Dinosaur, and a couple other smaller things.
And
so you
then
don't
you
have
can skip the $15 on Genie Plus.
Yeah, then you don't have to buy Genie Plus. So let us know what other rides you want to see us tackle next.
Yep.
Until next time, friends, go watch the Rise of Resistance version of this. Bye!
Bye!
Bye.